Hello everybody, this is Tammy and I wanted to dedicate this video tutorial to looking at Google Classroom. A very simple way, it's a learning management system that can curate all of your classroom resources and assignments and allows you to go paperless, allows you to post some assignments or quizzes or links for your students to easily access. Now, because our district uses Google Apps, it makes it super easy. And I do believe that Google Classroom is already put in your Google Chrome extensions up at the top. So the way we will get there, if you happen to see this little symbol up here, it's a green icon with a little person in the middle. That's your Google Classroom icon. So you can click on that. Or you can click on your grid of apps. Just make sure that you are signed into your school Google account, and you'll have classrooms somewhere in those different apps from your grid. So different ways to get there, or you can go to classroom.google.com to get there as well. So lots of different ways to get there. The easiest way is from that little Chrome extension up there. Now the students should have those on their Chromebooks as well. And this is going to be very helpful. I'll show you what it looks like when I choose that. When I choose that icon, it's going to show all of the classrooms that I either teach or I'm enrolled in. I've had a couple of teachers that added me as a student just as they were starting out, or I'm collaborating with, or the classrooms that I have taught. So when your students see this, so as they have different classes that use Google Classroom, when they click that icon, they're going to see all the classrooms that they're enrolled in because they're logged into their accounts, and they're going to be able to quickly choose that classroom. But I'm going to go ahead and just say open classroom, and it's going to show you like the main hub of when I go to classroom.google.com or whatever. It's going to display in the tiles all the different classrooms that I'm a part of, whether I'm teaching or I'm enrolled or as a student. So from here, I'm going to choose the classroom that I have created for this lesson, but I also want to show you before I leave, this is how you would create it. Now, before you start creating your classrooms, something that I just learned recently, didn't really notice before, but it doesn't bother me a whole lot, but I thought, oh, this would be really cool to know before I started this, is when you create your Google Classrooms, they are in the order of when you created them from the most recent up at the top. So this is the most recent one because I wanted a second period. So this is Tiger Tech Classroom period 2, and this was my original one. So it's always in order from the most recent being first. So because of that, and I would suggest if you're in the higher grade levels and you teach multiple classes, I would go from your last period first and then move up to your first period. Because then you'll have it in order of period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, whatever, you'll have them in order. So start with your last period and work your way up when you start creating this. Just to make it easier to see in this little grid right here or in your drop downs, you'll be able to see them in number order. So I hope that makes sense. So when you do create, it's just a nice little plus button. I tell you what, Google is awesome as far as being user-friendly. And it's just so easy to get started. So that would be my suggestion. You can stop the video if you want to and create yours, or you can play the video and pause it. That's the great thing about video instruction, is you can replay or pause whenever you need to. So you're going to hit this. When you hit that plus button, you can either have the option of joining a class. So that would be what the students would do. They would join the class with the code that you give them, and I'll show you that in just a second. Or you create your class. So go ahead and hit create a class. And this is where you're going to name it. So be thinking about how you want to name your classes. I think I did when I was teaching math, I would do like Whitaker Pre-AP period 1, Whitaker Pre-AP period 2, Whitaker Math period 3. So I would put my name and the period number, and that's going to help the students as well as they have multiple teachers that utilize Classroom. and they're going to be able to see that really fast in the drop down. So let's say Whitaker. I'm actually going to do another Tiger Tech Classroom Period 3. These are optional if you want to do that. I never usually do that. So I'm going to hit create, and it's going to magically create my class. Oh, nice old desk with wood. Looks old. Anyway, so I look at it here. It starts my classroom. So my classroom is made, and I'm going to go back to my classes, and you're going to see it in that list. So there it is right there, the one I just made. And you're going to notice it's going to be the first thing here. So like I said, go ahead and make your class periods least or the lowest, your highest number class up to your first period. So you can stop, and if you can do that now if you want to do that. All right. So again, I've got 3 periods of Tiger Tech classrooms. I've got some other test classroom. We'll go back to this one because this has some students in it. Actually, we might visit Miss Blakely's class as well. She's got students too, so we might take a look at that. So I'm going to go back to this classroom. This was my original classroom. You'll notice in Classroom you have 3 main tabs across the top. Now they did a whole redo, and it was at the beginning of September, right at I think September 8th or whatever, is they updated Google Classroom. It looked completely different from the way it looked before. They did have a couple of little things that teachers didn't like, and so they reworked them a little bit and updated even more to make them even better. So when you first come up to this, to your classroom, you may not like this background or the color, so you can go to the theme. So over here in the bottom right, you just click on select a theme, and they have a gallery already of pictures that you can choose from. Oh, I don't know, that might be good for science. Okay. Patterns, you can choose different patterns. If you don't want to do a picture, you can just do some kind of pattern that might work better for you. Let's choose, I don't know, I'm kind of digging the whole science thing. So let's do cells. Okay. All right. So this is your cell, and that's going to become your background, and it changes your colors a little bit. Class theme is updated, so you can change your theme and it change your colors. Very simple. You would usually do a different theme for each one of my class periods, and I definitely would. Let me go back to that real quick. If you do have different periods, I would strongly encourage you to do a different class for each period, and especially for each prep, because you want to make it easy to correlate to your grade book, and so you have your students in each class, and it's organized alphabetically, so it just makes it easier. So that's my first suggestion. All right, so we are in this. I did change the background. All right, so let's just take a look at the main 3 tabs up here at the top. Now, I will also mention over here the 3 bars. It just shows you all your other classes that you are involved in. This will take you back to that home page, but then you can go back and forth between classrooms that you've created right there. So that's for that. There's your title. If you want to change the title, you can. All right, so the stream, this first tab, stream, is kind of like your news feed in Twitter or Facebook. So it's kind of like this is where you're going to put announcements and comments and stuff like that. The assignments now are going to be in the classwork tab. So before they had just a little plus button that you could add an announcement or a resource, or you could do an assignment or a question or whatever, and it would be all on the same page, and it would kind of get all cluttered with different things. But now that they've kind of organized this a little bit better, is that you have a stream that's kind of like your news feed, and that's just kind of your updated news. And then the classwork is where the assignments are going to be. And I will tell you that one of the things that teachers complained about is that when you were in the stream, the about used to have, you could put some class resources and classroom materials like your syllabus or some vocab or whatever. Well, there was no option to do that because if you click about, all you see is your classroom code. And while we're here, I'll just go ahead and mention that. So you get a code for every classroom that you create. Now I can just hit that and it puts it up on the screen. And this is when the kids are logging in and becoming joining your class, that they will go to classroom and they will join the class, hit that plus button and join a class, and they'll put in this code and it puts them in your class. And then they're done. So they're going to be in there from then on. So there's your code. You can, I believe, reset that in your settings, and we'll talk about that later. So that's in your about. So there's no more classroom resources. So that's going to be in the classwork tab, and I'll show you that in just a second. So right here, you're gonna, this is where you would add some kind of something. You can do some kind of announcement. You can do an attachment here. You can do something from Google Drive. You can put a link to a YouTube video. You can search for it, or you can put in the URL of the video, or you can put in a link to a website. You can also notice that I can check all the classes that I want to. So say this is a resource, or hey, check out this video I found today. And so I want to do it for all of my Tiger Tech classes. So I can do it at that point right there. And then check out this video. And then I can, let's see, my favorite topic, growth mindset. Carol Dweck, she's the one who created or came up with the concept of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So maybe we like this little cartoon thing. So I'm going to add this and I want to post it. So I can post it. Now this little arrow over here says I can post it. Sometimes I can schedule it, but on the stream page, the schedule is not available. That's on the assignment. So on the assignments, you're able to schedule. So I can post it. I can save it as a draft, or I can post. So I'm going to go ahead and post it. And so this just becomes something that's on the news feed that the students will see. And then I will show you that in Tiger Tech period 2, there it is. So that's very critical when you have something that all of your classes are using, so you don't have to go to each classroom and put it in separately. You can just do it in one fell swoop. So it's going to be in Tiger Tech period 3 as well. So there's there's your stream page, and like I said, you can put any of these things in. And also, if you just want to do it for just a few students, so I just have Holly in here, but if I had more people in here, you could just choose at this point, unclick all students and just choose the few students that you want to see. And then they're going to be the only ones that see it in their Google Classroom. The other students won't see that. So a really good way to individualize or differentiate through Google Classroom when you're able just to choose certain students and specific students for different poster assignments. That's a great thing. So I'm going to cancel that. So again, the stream is like your news feed page, like your main page. That's what's going on. So all the magic happens here in the classwork. Now I mentioned how when they first came out, this launched the new classroom in September. They didn't have a place for where am I going to put my syllabus? Where am I going to put the about me, my little flyer that I put out there, and I want them to see at any point. You know, I have new students coming in. I want to put a link on to my teacher website, and so they didn't have a place for that. So this is what they did. They created this button here, changed, and when you hit create, you are able to create an assignment, but you are also able to create material. And so if you just want to add some material, you would just add, this is a great resource, blah, blah, blah. And then at this point, you could assign it a topic. So you can create a topic. If I want to create a topic for, here's a unit 4, because I have, no, unit 3, because I have unit 1 and 2. So here's a great resource. And then I can do an attachment from Google Drive, a YouTube video, or a website, or whatever. I can make sure I do all my classes. Really, really be careful and make sure you do that each time, because once you create an assignment, or create something like this, you can't edit and go back and add the classes. So make sure you're always looking at, before you post, before you launch it, that you look at it's going to the people you want to go to. All right, so we've got that set. It's in the Unit 3 topic, and I'm going to hit post. So notice that it created this bar for Unit 3. And then, excuse me, then this is a great resource, the material that I just added under Unit 3. And I will show you real quick. I've got, you can create topics right here. So I'll just add a Unit 4, and you can see how easy that is. So I add Unit 4. And it just is added down here. And so when I'm creating material or assignments or questions, then I can assign it a topic. So you can do that by units or by concepts, but you also may want to have a topic of vocabulary. And so all you want to put all your vocabulary in this thing right here, down here at the bottom. Now, I don't want it down here at the bottom. I want it up at the top, along with maybe a syllabus or a classroom. So I want it up at the top. How do I get it up at the top? So if you click on here, you see this move up. So I can keep moving it up, or I can move it down. So this will put it up at the top where I want it. One more. And now it's up at the top. And then I have professional development. Then I have my units. So you are able to move your big topics around. You can move up or down as you need to. You can rename, delete, copy the link, whatever. So you are able to arrange your materials here. And I would definitely, I like them separated by units, because this is a curation tool. This is where all the information is. And you want to make sure it's organized and easy for the students to find this information. So that's what you would do. For creating an assignment, and I have Kami assignment because I have the Kami Chrome extension up here, so you may not see that. I can put in a question, and I had put in a question before. What professional development would you like to see offered in the area of technology tools? And you'll see that it's an assignment. And so I have one student in the class so far, so it's assigned to that one person. I'll get a notification, or I get told right here if it's been turned in. And so that's easy to do. So that's just posting a question, and then you can assign that as a question, and you can assign it no due date or whatever. So let me show you creating an assignment. So if you create an assignment, right off the bat, make sure you know who you're creating the assignment for. Now I want it for all of my Tiger Tech classes. I want to, this is, let's say, Unit 2, how do we want to call it? Reflection. Okay. You can assign point value here, or you can say it's ungraded. You can have a due date. Let's make it due the 7th, and you can even make it a time of 4 o'clock p.m. so you can give them to the end of the day. So there you have your due date. A topic, obviously it's Unit 2, so I want to put it in Unit 2, and so it's going to show up in the Unit 2 bar. I can maybe I provide a form or a document for them. I create a document in my Google Drive, and so I go to Google Drive, and I'm just gonna choose something and choose a Google Doc here. Let's say we choose this and just say you created a form, just a format for them to use for their reflections or whatever, and you can add that. And what I'm going to do is say make a copy for each student. So when the student clicks on it in their Google Classroom, they're going to have their own copy. And so I'm going to choose that. So you have those other options. Students can view the file, they can edit the file. I don't want them to edit my file. So I want them to have their own copy for each student. So just double check. You can put any instructions here. Use the form provided to reflect on your takeaways from Unit 2. And anything else, make sure you know where they're going, and it's going to be due at that point. Now, at this point, you can, let's see, assign. Why does it not have the option to schedule? You should see an ability to schedule it. For some reason, it's not working for me. But I'm just going to go ahead and click on assign. So you can assign it, you can schedule it when it's going to appear. Maybe because I have limited students or whatever. So I'm going to click assign. So it's assigning. It should, because I had it in Unit 2, it should place it under the Unit 2. It's taking a little bit of time here. Should place it under the Unit 2 topic. Just apologize for it taking so long. There we go. So there's my Unit 2 reflections. It says when it was posted, and it says when it's due. Now, if I go to my stream, it'll also show up in the stream. So the students know what's happening. It's also an upcoming. They know what's upcoming, and so they know that they have something that's due. So the stream, again, is like your news feed. It's what's happening. And then the classwork is your individual classwork. And I really like the way they've done this now. I like the way that you can put your class materials up at the top as a topic. I like how it's broken down by topics. It looks very clean. I like that. You also have your Google Calendar and your Class Drive folder, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute, because everything is stored in Google Drive in your classroom folder. So you have folders for every classroom, and then it's broken down by assignments, and you would be able to see, excuse me, you'll be able to see student work in there. All right, so let's go to the last tab. This is people. Click on a student's name to visit the page. So if I click on my student here, I can see what's been assigned to them. I can see if it's been turned in. Nothing's been turned in. And then I can return what's been returned with a grade. So when something's been turned in, then I'm able to grade that. I'm not going to be able to show it to you right here, but I can show it to you once you get that set up. If you have any questions, you can just let me know, and then I can see what's missing. So that is, you're able to see each student. I'm going to go back. I can email student or the guardians. So I'm going to go back to my classroom resources. So there's my people. You can add teachers to the classroom. So if you want to invite teachers to be collaborating with you, so if you have an inclusion teacher or somebody else that you want to have access to Google Classroom, you're able to do that there. So that, again, is our main three topics here up at the top, our main three tabs. Stream, sorry. Stream is like your news feed. Classwork is where you have your assignments. You create assignments, questions, and you can post materials and new topics. And then your people, that's where your students are going to be. sorry. Now you can add students here. So very simply, like you would with a Gmail or whatever, you start typing up their name and they'll show up and you can invite them, or you can give them that code. Now let's look at that code. Now I just clicked the settings, the class settings. I can rename it again like this, but here's the code. I can display it real big like we did before with the about, or I can reset it. So if I don't like that code, I'm going to reset it and it gives me a different code. Now in your stream, which was like the news feed, I can do some different options here. So I can say students can post and comment, students can only comment to my post, or only teachers can post or comment. Now I do want that feedback. I want that collaboration. I want that interactivity in classroom. So I would never say only teachers can post or comment because I want it to be a class um, classroom with the students really leading out. So I would at least do students can only comment, but I would also say students can post or comment. I'm a big believer in giving the students the opportunities to grow instead of always being cynical and assuming that they can't handle it. Yeah, you might have some issues every once in a while, but it's just not right to keep those opportunities from the students. So I'm going to let them do that. And again, I can change the class code if I need to. So that's under class settings, which is your gear, always your gear. And there's your little Google grid again. And then you have notifications because this is a part of your Google account. So if you have any notifications from Google Hangouts or whatever, it would show up there. And again, with your 3 bars over here, you have access to all your other classrooms. And you can see I had assigned it in when I made those assignments that I also chose period 2 and period 3. So it's already there for that class too, and I don't have to recreate it for every class. It's all done for all the classes that I chose in the beginning. Let me show you just real quick. This is something I chose or created for new teachers. Now this looks a little bit different because this was before the switch, the update, but I just wanted to show you the people. So you've got a collaboration of teachers here with all the coaches, and then you have all the new teachers here, and I'm able to click on a specific teacher and just see anything that was assigned. We didn't have really anything that was assigned for them, so there's nothing in there for that. So that's kind of what that looks like. We put in some resources. They look really nice. They're able to click on videos or any kind of, we have PDFs in here. These are videos, PDFs, Google Slides from my Google Drive. So easy, it interacts so easily, and this is what it looked like before. So everything is on the stream. So I'm kind of glad that we have this ability to show you what it looked like before. So everything was on here. So it was kind of hard to see what was assignments and what was just notifications or announcements or whatever. So it is kind of nice to be able to see in this example of the new classroom that here's just your announcements and kind of stuff to be aware of. And then this is where all the assignments and the classroom materials will fall. So it is, I like it. I think it's much cleaner. If you have any questions about setting it up, I'm happy to help you along the way. I think it's a great place to put information. I will tell you, I used Quiz-Is a lot for formative assessments. With every concept, every topic that we did, we'd have a Quiz-Is, just real quick formative, just to see where they were. And I would create my Quiz-Is, and then I would put that Quiz-Is works with Google Classroom. So I would create the Quiz-Is, and at the end, I would do it in homework, so it's self-paced. And then I would assign it to a Google Classroom, and I would be able to, and I would do a different Quiz-Is for each class. And then that link would go into their classroom, and so they wouldn't need a quizzes code. They would click on the link and it would just ask for their name and start the quiz. And in Google Classroom, it kept a record of their results with quizzes, because so much now works with and integrates with Google Classroom. And I will put a link on the Google slide for the slide presentation about what can integrate, that they all work together. And so you're able to see what they did on quizzes and their results in Google Classroom as well as quizzes. So that's another great tool to use there. So I'm going to stop now before I choke. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.